Do you know what happened to home prices this year? They went up by tens of thousands of dollars. And here's the real question. How much did your home go up by? How long is this gonna last? More importantly, how do you cash in on it?
One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I'm turning dreams into reality. Yeah, it's one shot, now the future is yours. Go!
Man, do you know what happened to real estate this year? It's one of those phenomenons where you think, man, I wish I had bought more homes. Because currently, if you are a homeowner, something just happened to the value of your home. It went up a ton. And you might be wondering, will this just end this year? Will it continue next year, the year after? Friends, I've made millions of dollars this year by the increase in home prices. And by the end of this video, I'm gonna reveal what you need to be doing right now to make sure you do not miss out on one of the biggest waves in real estate that only comes about every 15 years. House prices are jumping right now. It reminds me of that song from the 90s, Kris Krohn will make you jump, jump. And that's exactly what real estate is doing right now. In 2008, when the last major crisis hit, I went in right after and I bought as much real estate as I could. And in the first 5 years, that equated to over $100 million of profits for me and my investors. It's happening again.
It is happening again.
Check this out from Strait. Home values are accelerating more quickly than any time since 2014, marking a sharp turnaround from a market briefly put on hold during the outbreak of the pandemic since spring. Well, the real estate market did go on hold, but that certainly did not last very long. How much have home prices actually gone up? In the game of real estate, we track a special number called the median home price. The easiest way to think about it is kind of like, what is the average price that people are actually paying? Like a ton of people want entry-level real estate at maybe $200,000. A handful of people want real estate at maybe $1 million. But right now at the center of that bell curve, you know what that number is? The median home price is $259,906. That is up super steep from where it was last year. How much has it gone up? Check this out. The median national list price rose 11.6% year over year as of the week ending October 10th, again from Strait. Now you might be wondering, what does year over year mean? Well, it just means that from one year to the next year, it's a method for evaluating two or more measured events to compare the results at one period with those of a comparable period on an annualized basis. In the game of real estate, we're always wondering, what is my year over year growth? And you might look at that percent and say, okay, Kris, 11.6%. Is that a big number? Make no mistake, I'm thrilled about this. I acquire a ton of real estate for this very reason. For example, last year, I purchased more than 200 homes. And those 200 homes, because of this 11.6%, increased the overall value of the portfolio by $4.8 million. Can you imagine just by breathing and being a human being for 12 months that overall worth of that asset goes up $4.8 million? Guess what's going to happen in the next few years? About to show you. Now you might be wondering, when did this growth really occur? Well, from the year-over-year national real estate averages, look what happened in January of 2019. Throughout the year, it's actually rising and increasing. And then we come into 2020 and look at it. It goes up, February, holds, 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 holds. June, boom, it takes a really big bust through, and guess what? It is continuing its rise up and up and up. Now I want to share with you why I'm so pumped about this, because check it out. The national median might be $259,000, but for me, my average is around $150,000 when I buy a home as an investor. And this is important because at the end of the video, I really want you to understand where the real opportunities are for you to go in and harvest a lot of money out of the next 5 years. I did say 5. I'm going to qualify that. So check it out. On my last several thousand homes, my average purchase price is around $150,000. And since October 10th, 2019, that's jumped to $174,000. That is a $24,000 increase per home that I own. Now, I want you to think for a moment about this one regret that I believe every person has by the time they get in their 50s. You're gonna look back when you're old and you wanna retire and you're gonna say, how much am I worth? How much money do I have? There's a high likelihood that where you will have your greatest asset is in the home that you bought. And you're gonna say, man, that thing went up over time $250,000. This year alone, this home went up $24,000. Well, guess what? In 1 year, owning hundreds of those, that's $4.8 million. I think our biggest regret when we get to retirement will actually be saying, why didn't I just buy more? Like if I had a time machine and I could go back, if I had just bought 2, 3, 4, 5, or 10 more. That's what I figured out when I was 22 years old, and that's why I was financially free by the age of 26. On the other hand, maybe you had your money in the stock market. I wonder how that's performed. Well, stocks in that same period of time, according to the Dow Jones Industrial Average, has only gone up 0.38%. So let's look at what that math looks like. If I started with $150,000 like I do on my homes, it's actually only gone up from $150,000 to $150,570. But that's only one of the reasons why I'm such a huge fan of real estate overall compared to the stock market. Check out this major difference. Out of all the reasons why I love real estate, the tax advantages, the cash flow, I'm actually going to share the number one most important thing that I love about real estate compared to any other investment. And the word is leverage. Check this out. When I buy a $150,000 home, I only have to put 20% of the money down. Let's say that that is $30,000. Now, that's a lot of money, but I don't have to buy the home paid off with $150,000. I only need $30,000. Well, if this is in real estate, and over here, I want $150,000 worth of stocks, guess how much money I have to pay to buy $150,000 of stocks? I have to pay $150,000. So I have no leverage. Here I have a 5-to-1 leverage. Here's what it really means. If I put $30,000 to buy this house and this year it goes up $24,000, I've nearly made all of my money back. But take a look at what happens over the next 2 or 3 or 4 years. If I keep seeing growth trends like this, in the short haul, I'm gonna make a little fortune. And at the end of this video, I'm gonna show you how to cash in and make your fortune. Pause. Would you be willing to share my YouTube videos if it meant that you could earn a chance to win $100,000 of free real estate mentoring with me for life? Click the link below, share a bunch of my videos, and this week you'll find out if I pick you. Well, you gotta be asking, Kris, what's gonna happen in the next year? Here's what Zillow predicts. They say that by the end of the year, we're not done seeing growth. We're gonna see 2.9% more growth, and then they're predicting next year another 7% rise. So by the way, as I look back on my personal portfolio between me and my partners, on just 200 homes, that's an additional $2.8 million based on another 9.9% growth, or a grand total over the 2 years of $7.3 million increase. Now, listen, I may be making millions of dollars because I own a lot of homes, but as long as you're buying 2, 3, 4, or 5 homes, you can amass hundreds of thousands of dollars in a very short period of time that you can then grow into millions of dollars. In fact, did you know that the #1 creator of millionaires in America is real estate? And generally, this is exactly how it happens. And this is what interests people in the first place to subscribing to channels like mine saying, Kris, reveal your secrets. Like, what would you do if you were me? Well, I'll show you in a second. But first, what about rents, right? Like, these home values are going up. Are rents going up? First, let's take a look actually about commercial real estate. Since 2019, there are some places like New York, San Francisco, San Jose, really expensive commercial hot zones. Guess what's happening? Their rents are actually going down. However, we've got a lot of that money moving into the Outer Banks areas like Riverside in California, or Phoenix, where a lot of that California money flows, or you got areas like Memphis where I buy a lot of single family homes. Check it out. At least commercially speaking, rents are on the rise. If you actually take a look at single family homes and what's happening there, initially everyone was worried that this pandemic was going to ultimately lead to people getting kicked out of their homes. And I'm not gonna lie, at first, I was a little bit worried. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a government-forced recession. What's going to happen to all my real estate? Well, the reality is we are not evicting people. We're experiencing the opposite. The rental market is heating up. In fact, it's so hot that I'm usually renting my homes for more than I originally planned on, which bumps up my overall return on investment. But more importantly, instead of taking 5 weeks to fill a house, we're sometimes doing it in just days. It's crazy what is happening in single-family real estate right now. A lot of people want to know, why are these home prices surging and how long is this going to continue? And is it building a bubble? Like, should I protect myself and get out of the game? Or is this the beginning of something really great and I should be diving in? Well, there's a lot of people out there that have possible answers. Globe Street went on to say that the migration of millennials to single-family homes could be a significant reason that home prices are surging. I don't believe that. I think the reason why home prices are surging is because in 2008, when we had that huge drop off after that big bubble burst, we never caught up to our demand and supply problems. We just don't have enough homes in this country. You know what the pandemic did? We went on pause for a couple of minutes, and when things turned back on and the green light said go, all of a sudden people said, I'm gonna take my social distancing from the city out into the farmlands. I'm gonna go and we're going to go hit suburbia. And right now there's this massive demand for people to buy real estate out there. But what we're really doing is we're fulfilling a tall order of over 1 million missing homes in this country. And until we fulfill that order, we can't really have a bubble get created. So here comes this question right here. What should I do? Well, you know me, I got my money box, and I want to tell you right now the game is officially on. During the next 5 years, it is going to be raining money if you know what to do. So check it out. You've got to find a way to get a game plan on buying a home, and preferably more. And I'm going to give you some ideas of ways of doing that, because there are so many different ways of doing real estate, whether you do have money, or even if you don't, or even if you're super young, or maybe you feel like you missed the boat and you're too old. I'm going to tell you right now, it is going to take years for the building market to actually catch up. Developers are going to invest hard into more and more real estate. Ultimately, in several years to come, they're going to be the ones that are caught. But for the time being, these home prices, they're going to go through that historic bump up. Real estate markets every 15, 20, 25 years, they take this historic big bump. Like, I remember the very first house I bought. You seen that ugly, dingy thing? That house was built in the 50s, and it was built for $5,000. I bought it at a crazy discount, think about this, for like $110,000. With a little bit of passage of time, real estate has to keep appreciating, it has to keep going up. And you should be careful of like these big bumps. Well, here's your game plan. You want to be focusing on real estate way below the median. You want to be in the $150,000 price range. And here's why. This is safe real estate, because when the market goes up and we start building our bubble, eventually it's going to come down really sharp. And when it does, that affects $1 million homes, that affects $500,000 homes, that'll also affect homes at the median, $250,000. But this entry-level $150,000 market that I've bought thousands of homes in, the last time we experienced the last big crash, this was a protected zone.
You have to protect them.
Now, if you're buying at this level, these homes get to go up significantly in value, but it's the safest way that you can be buying real estate. Now, consider this for a moment. You should be tapping into 401ks, especially with government's exemption on being able to take that because of the pandemic. You should be liquidating IRAs. You should be harvesting money out of your stocks. Your financial planner is going to say this is stupid. If you have real estate, you have equity. If you have parents, if you have partners, if you know people that have real estate, if you know people that have money, then you've got to get them on this channel. And if you click the link below, you actually have an opportunity to connect with a member of my team and say, hey, Kris is buying a house just about every single day, and I might qualify as a partner to buy with Kris. He'll do all the work. He'll put in the hundreds of hours of work with his team of 200 experts. They've done this so many times. In fact, you can even download my track record for free on my last 2,500 homes. Right now, this is what we're doing. We're seeing around 30% annual increases on our real estate. And if you factor in what we talked about this year, that number right now is getting blown out of the water. For the next 3 to 5 years, this is going to be one of the biggest cash grabs. And all you have to do is find a way to get into real estate at the right price point. And I'm going to add one more component. You want to get into the right market. Right now, in the entire United States, there are only 3 places where I'm purchasing real estate because I have the highest cash flow and I have the highest growth. I'm getting the highest returns. And again, if you click the link below, you can get a ton of information for free. Talk to a member of my team. They'll show you how to transfer assets or other people's assets into the game of real estate, because all I'm doing is winning big, big, big again, just like I did in 2008, and you might as well join me for the ride. Hey, thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're not a subscriber, fix that. More importantly, if you're watching this, you gotta be asking yourself, okay, Kris, this bubble's gonna burst, but you seem to have a lot of confidence, like at like a PhD economist level, that we're gonna be safe for the next couple of years. Listen, I can't guarantee that I'm right. I'm just reading cycles. And if you want to understand this bubble cycle, click this link right here. I just made a video for you teaching you about bubbles and teaching you how we're going to know exactly when it's going to pop and why I feel so confident right now to be in the game and buying as much real estate as I possibly can. If I can buy 1,000 homes this next year with my partners, we're going to make like $1 billion.